The Blazers spent some money yesterday. They spent a good amount of money yesterday. One would argue they spent the right amount of money yesterday.
Yeah, no. What's funny is I didn't see the Shaedon Sharpe one live because, shockingly, I was out golfing. But the Tumani one, he ended up getting 4-year, $82 million. He could have got up to $87 million. I was a little surprised he didn't get the max, but also I'll tie this back to Nasir Little when he got his deal a couple years ago. And we were talking to Nas after he got his contract, and hey man, congratulations, and how you feeling, how you thinking, what's going on right now, and he goes, man, if you would have told 18-year-old me you could have guaranteed me $20+ million. He goes, there was no reason for me to argue or fight. Now Nas ended up having some injuries, and it was great that he got his contract because injuries kind of.
And he's in China now, right?
Japan. Yeah. Nas is one of the best humans I've ever covered. That dude is an incredible dude, but. Two is very reminiscent of that. And
Tumani.
Tumani is incredibly reminiscent of that, of 52nd overall pick, just a great dude, has a worldview and an understanding at his age that there's a maturity to him that doesn't exist with most guys in the NBA that came in the way that he did. His rookie year, it's kind of funny because I think people kind of gloss over this. His rookie year, he started out pretty well. He came out of camp just a complete demon, and then he got a little too big for his britches. And he's told me this, and I had him on the podcast a couple months ago when we talked about this, where in December he got benched because he wasn't doing the things he was supposed to do, and it humbled him. And he was like, Chauncey Billups let him know, hey man, you're out there to defend and knock down threes. I know you want to do more. Show me you can do these things. We'll give you more, right? So swallowed his pride, came out there, and locked the hell in. And then in the second year, he goes and becomes an all-NBA defender, shoots 37% from three, and shows there could be more even to his game. It is a fantastic story, and also a hell of a trade for the Portland Trail Blazers to get him in on that deal.
No kidding. When we get to the noon hour, I'd like to get into more about Joe Cronin and kind of the state of Joe as the GM and what he's accomplished. But I think you're kind of spot on there. I think, before we get into Shea, if we want to stick with Tumani Kamara here, it's a hell of a deal for a player who I don't think we've seen the full ceiling of. I think for a guy that's an all-defensive player is huge for the Blazers to be able to lock in, because let's say that offense doesn't get better from him. Let's just say he stays what he is.
14, 50-point-a-game guy? Sure.
The money for what he can do on defense and how he fits as a role on this team, I think is solid. Yeah, I love this deal so much for the Blazers.
He's one of the 5 best point-of-attack defenders in the entire NBA.
And to get him,
period, point blank.
And to lock him in at that price, I think is quite nice. It is surprising that, and I'll tie this into Shaedon Sharpe as well. I was a little surprised that these guys were willing to do it, mostly because I think they both left money on the table. And I think that says something about where they are in the sense of wanting to be here in Portland. That's what it read to me. The Shaedon Sharpe stuff was the most surprising, too, because I thought he could have gotten at least $100 million. And I know you've been on the other end of this. And I was worried that, as a lot of people at this station say, Shaedon could have been in a prove-it year and kind of had that kind of attitude walking into the season.
And that number could have gotten a
lot bigger or bigger or bigger.
Sure.
And so I think right here, 4 years, 90 with Shaedon Sharpe is a great move for both. It's locking in young players that still have potential for the money that they are locked in. I think was a great move.
Here's the thing. With Tumani, you have, and I think to a certain extent, Keegan Murray got a lot more money, a lot more money, 5/140. That's the Kings, though. The Kings and the Raptors, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Your books are a disaster. Sure, paid Brandon Ingram another $40 million because why not? That's certainly paid off for the other teams that he played for. But I digress. 2, getting his deal, perfect. It absolutely makes sense. All the things that come along with that. I think, even like you said, even if he doesn't improve offensively, you know what he is. He's one of the best defenders in the NBA. He's 6'8". He's multi-dimensional, very switchable, malleable. He can fit. Tumani Kamara could start for every team in the NBA.
And at that price is amazing.
Yes. I'm not going to say amazing. I'm going to say it's very good value.
For Portland, with the struggles we've had to sign guys, I'm going to say
But the thing is, you don't ever have trouble signing guys that are RFAs. That's the next part where I was going to get to. When I said where Shaedon could underperform or get paid less, that wasn't a shot at Shaedon. That was so I've talked to probably, 6-7 GMs over the last month, about RFA status, restricted free agent status in the NBA.
Which sounds like an absolute nightmare.
Oh, if you
Following
are a player
the
right
Kuminga
now,
stuff,
dude, you are cooked.
is RFA worse
Yes.
than
Whatever it is, yes. Arbitration?
No. What franchise tag? I don't know why I
Yes.
blanked there.
Yes, because
there's a lot of guys
it's a
that hate
one-year deal,
franchise
but
tag.
you're also getting crazy money.
Yeah.
You're getting what
Franchise.
franchise is
It's the
It's the average of the
of
top
top
five
five.
of the
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
Yes.
So RFA status. Every executive that I talked to about this, I phrased this question the same way because I wanted to get their feedback on this because I had a tweet yesterday of I expected there to be a pretty sizable correction. And if you can go back and check the podcast, check TV, whatever you want to over the last year and a half, 2 years, I expected there to be a correction with the non-max players. The guys I always use are like the Zach Levines of the world or the Brandon Ingrams of the world who are just giving
really good.
really good, but you're just giving them money because, well, you're next up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not going to work, man. Like under this new CBA, it's not going to work. But I expected that to be over the course of like 3 to 5 years. Like maybe one team would, hand out money and like, oh, the Kings are doing Kings things, the Pelicans are doing Pelicans things. But
Well, you kind of you feel like you have to hand out money in the NBA. Like
Yes.
somebody on my team has to get paid, otherwise people aren't coming to this.
yes, and so that's never going to entirely go away. But part of it was like I expected kind of a smoothing where it would just kind of come down a little by little by little. Outside of a couple organizations, every organization said, nope, we're done. We're done doing this.
Yeah.
You're not just getting money just to get money anymore. We have to be so rigid with our books. Like the leaks that came out about Shaedon wanting 100 or 110, it's from his agent.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody wants more money.
And guess where he ended up at? The exact number the Blazers were willing to go to. You want the money? Here's 490. And here's my thing about him getting less. Because had he gone in, let's just say he has the same year. Let's just say he has the same year, slightly better from three, slightly better on defense, but like he's a roughly a 20-point a game guy who can do some stuff, but there's some other stuff there. You're like, it's not quite there. The money would have come down. It would have come down because he would have had zero leverage. Zero. Because RFA status right now, nightmare fuel. Unless you are one of those guys, it's nightmare fuel.
But couldn't you argue, though, that 4 at 90, whether he regresses or progresses, is still a good meet in the middle? To lock up 4 more years of a 22-year-old kid who might blow up at 26?
But that's the thing is you're
and
talking
then
about.
give him a max?
That's the thing you're talking about. He might. I would argue that Shea has not shown anything that he's going to blow up. He can get better. He has not shown anything to me that shows he's going to blow up.
Really? Because I think the amount of athleticism alone tells me he could. Not that he will, but he could. Like the guy is an extremely talented athlete.
Yes.
Maybe a top 5 athlete in the NBA.
I could go down the list of those guys in the NBA over the last 10, 15 years, and you know how many of them actually did?
I know, but look at like Aaron. I always compare it to Aaron Gordon. Like his career turned out really nice.
Yeah, and what happened to his pay scale?
It decreased, but then he won. And he went to a team, and he was a role player and a good position player for that.
But that's my point. A guy that is that. Aaron Gordon might have been at his peak the most athletic guy in the NBA.
Totally.
6'9" with that kind of verticality and that level of explosion. Like
jumps over cars.
Yeah, I mean, just a freak, right? But he was put down as the 3rd best player on a team and got significantly less money than he would have gotten otherwise.
Yeah.
Like and again, that's not a shot at Gordon. It's not a shot at Shaedon. It's just reestablishing a pecking order of salaries in the league where instead of just handing out money hand over fist to everyone, there has been a real reckoning of, look, man, this is what it is.
But aren't there teams, and I would argue Portland is one of those teams, that almost have to overpay guys to keep them? Because it's hard to get people here in the first place.
In the
that if you're going to take a shot on the drafts or the trades that you make and the players that you get in return, if you like them, you kind of have to overpay them. Because if this were open market, which I know the NBA is very, very different. If this were open market and Shaedon does hit this year, the Blazers aren't going to be able to afford him.
But see, everything you just said doesn't matter because it's not an open market and nobody has cap space and nobody has money and those players have zero leverage. Zero.
Yeah.
They don't. The only guys who have leverage, the only guys are the guys at the very top. The next tier down, whether it's Keegan Murray, who I think he got more than he probably should have, but shouts to Keegan. Jabari Smith Jr., he got, was it $115 million? Like,
you're referencing like Kevin Durant can get 2 years, $90 million.
And he took a cut.
He could have gotten more.
He legitimately, but also KD's 37. Like there's different parts of that. But the guys who have leverage, and the guys who don't, Take your money while you can. Otherwise, you're Cam Thomas. Otherwise, you're Jonathan Kuminga. Like, otherwise, you're just sitting there floating in this obscurity, and you're just screwed.
Boy, and that's the world I do not want to live in.
Like,
I do not want to be a Jonathan Kuminga world.
But here's also the other part of this. Who the Denver Nuggets trade this offseason because his contract doesn't match who he is? Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
The days, like Michael Porter Jr., Zach LaVine, like, they're good players. There's no doubt about it. They're very
okay players.
They're very good players. But the scaling and how your roster construction and your salaries have to match now, if Shaedon outperforms that, hell yes. It is a home freaking run.
And I think that's what I'm saying, that the amount of money for taking the risk of it being a home run is spot on.
But here's the thing, even if he's
instead of trying to save a couple bucks.
Well, I mean, they did, though. They did.
I'm talking more in the future.
Sure, but but you're not. NBA front offices don't operate more than 3 years out now. Now they're looking at their books for sure, but the life cycle of stuff now is so tight with the new CBA that it just that doesn't matter. For Shea though, for me, I think there's two different ways you can look at this. The glass half full is he looked at this deal and they tried to push for a little bit more, and he looked around and he had a moment of clarity and maturity and said, you know what? I haven't done enough yet to really push this. Let me secure this bag. It's almost $100 million. It's not like he's not getting money.
Yeah.
The glass half full or glass half empty is, and this is my fear with guys like him. He's Andrew Wiggins. I got my money. This is it. This is the bar. Because once guys get paid, and it's not just a Shaedon thing. This is a thing across sports and very true in the NBA. When you get the bag, you stagnate.
Yeah.
You
lose that motivation.
So many guys have come out and said, yeah, man, I got paid. And here's the thing. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. If you or I got a crap ton of money here, would we be motivated to be like, oh, yeah, we have to be the best. We have to do this. We have to keep working. We have to keep grinding.
That's why you asked me the question, if I win the lottery and I win $1 billion, am I still working here? No.
But that's my point.
Because the first time that I don't feel like doing anything, I don't, and then you get fired.
And so that's always my hesitancy. This is not a Shaedon specific thing. Like two, I have no questions about. He's a hungry monster. Like, he's not going to stop playing how he plays. What's the question with Shaedon?
Can he improve?
Does he bring it every night?
Yeah, I would say that's maybe your question. I don't know if us casual fans have that question.
I would say the staggering majority of Shaedon Sharpe.
I think most of us casual fans think he's 22 years old.
Sure, there's also
there's a lot of room to grow there, because I was not great at 22 years old and I had no money.
No, you're not wrong. But also, how many of the young guys that Wemby's 21?
Different.
Cooper Flagg's 19.
Different.
But again, those are the guys that get paid.
Those
Why?
guys are transcendent.
It's not just the talent, though. They're insane effort, work, just grindy, nasty dudes. And that's the thing. Like, even a guy like Ant Edwards, who, yes, the talent is there, and he was a knucklehead when he was younger, you never question how hard he played. Mm-hmm. You never question whether he's bringing it every night. And that's the thing with Shea.
Yeah, but I can also say that about almost every NBA player if they bring it every night.
Well, I mean,
that's why the league is a rough watch sometimes, because not everybody brings it every night.
You know what I'm saying.
I know what you mean. I think sometimes you can pigeonhole Shaedon a little too stereotypically in that world.
I think this is a good one from the fan text line. The Blazers are doing exactly what the Braves did with Acuna.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's great. Why not? It's what the Mariners did with Julio.
Yeah.
The Astros did it with Alex Bregman. It's a smart move.
Yeah, no, again, both these deals, Tu and Shaedon, fantastic. Love it.
We'll put a pin in this, recircle back around noon. We'll talk about Joe Cronin and kind of the job he's done in Portland as his term at the GM. And is it enough to keep him around? Are these good deals? What the future looks like for him? So we'll get back to that in the noon hour.